Which scene in a film disturbed you the most? The Fly. When the lady is having a baby and a giant maggot is born. Turns my stomach. The part where Hez crawling around on the ceiling had me freaking the duck out as a 10-year-old. I had a vaulted ceiling in my bedroom. And even with a nightlight on, it was still dark up there. Every night for about a month I went to bed imagining him chilling up there in the shadows waiting for me to close my eyes. That one scene in Silent Hill where Pyramid Head basically skinned the lady in his grasp. That was fun for 7-year-old me. There's a scene in a horror/thriller film called Mirrors. The plot is basically there's another dimension in anything reflective. And they're evil for the most part. It's been over a decade since I've seen it, I'm sure. Where a woman looks at her reflection in the mirror before getting in the bath. As she leaves the mirror, her reflection remains there. Couple of minutes later, she's chilling in the bath and the mirror version of her just starts ripping its own jaw open, which in turn forces the woman's jaw open in the bath. And she cannot do anything about it to stop it, and just has to let her jaw get torn to shreds as the bathtub fills with blood. It is brutal. This still haunts me. The movie is Saw 2 and it's the part where the big guy doesn't want to do his challenge, so he throws that girl into a pit of dirty needles. Can't think of many things that could be worse. This is honestly the first thing that came to my mind. I've seen that movie a couple of times, and that scene is one of the very few scenes in any movie that I will physically cover my eyes for, because I just can't watch it. The bit when that guy blinds a kid by pouring burning oil into his eyes in Slumdog Millionaire. Never forget this movie was advertised as the feel-good movie of the year and the trailers mostly showed the dancing sequence, which was nothing more than a bonus scene hidden away during the credits, if I remember correctly. What a depressing film. Holy shit, my mom and I went to see it together after being told by multiple people it was so cute and such a feel-good movie. Fuck all of them. We both cried through most of the film and decided never to talk to those people about movies again. Zodiac. When Hez stabbing the couple at Lake Berryessa. The lack of any music while hearing their screams is disturbing. The movie did an accurate job with portraying everything based from the witness/survivor accounts. There's audio of the boyfriend that survived that stabbing and the 911 operator who spoke to the killer, as well as a reading of the mother who was picked up by him, and they all say he was calm and well spoken. That alone creeps the duck out of me. Before I kill you, I'm going to throw your baby out the window. Apostrophe. Oh my gosh, that made the hair stand up on my arms. Imagine getting in the car and hearing that. Stuff like that didn't scare me as a teen, but as an adult who, rightfully, fears strangers/creepy people, that is just so scary. I think as I got older I became less spooked by supernatural stuff and more spooked by things that could actually happen. In Return to Oz, where the girl is strapped to the table, and when you see all those freestanding heads lining the walls. That movie is one of the most trippy and ducked up movies, and it boggles my mind that it was marketed to children. We were soldiers when they carpet bombed too close and several soldiers caught on fire. Then when they lifted up the guy and his legs peeled. Less graphic, but that scene where the two guys are in a foxhole in the dark and one guy mentions being able to smell the enemy, followed by an illumination round being fired over them, and you see they are surrounded by NVA, was nuts. The most powerful moment in that movie for me was them washing the blood out of the helicopters and sending them back in. The waves of red pouring out the side in slow motion is just a beautiful, horrifying moment. Event Horizon. The hell recording showing terrible things. I don't believe in supernatural stuff, but that scene sticks with me. I saw Event Horizon one afternoon in an almost empty theater. There was another lone guy sitting a few rows ahead of me. A couple of times during the movie he turned around and made some comment to me about how scary it was. Almost like he needed not to feel alone. He finally got up and left. There's a scene from the movie The Road where the father and his son discover a room full of chained, naked people waiting to be eaten by the cannibals living in the house, and then they run away and they get chased by the cannibals. That scene really traumatized me when I was young. I remember crying so hard when I watched that movie. Edit. I swear my parents are not bad people, lol. I don't remember exactly since it's been like 10 years, but I'm sure if they knew how intense that movie was, they would not have let me watch it. Also, I was like 13 to 14, not 8 or something, haha. The scene I always remember the most was when they were hiding in the bathroom and he pulled out his gun with his one bullet and held it to his son's head because he knew that if they were discovered, that it was the only thing he could do. Not the most classically disturbing imagery, but being a father myself, I think about that scene a lot. It was a great film, but I would likely not watch it again. The movie The Lobster stands out to me. Spoiler / disturbing / suicide warning. The premise, from what I remember, of the movie is society mandates marriage. If you don't marry, you are sent to a hotel, where you have 30 days to meet your spouse. If you don't, you are turned into an animal. First would be when a depressed lady was introduced and tries to get with the main character. Cause she only had a few days left to partner up. She mentions she might kill herself if she doesn't, but is worried, cause her room is only on the 3rd or 4th floor. A few scenes later, the main character is having some serious dialogue with a lady who is known for being cruel and heartless, whom he is trying to court. The lady from earlier, at this point, jumps out her window and is visibly bleeding out and screaming in agony just feet away from the two in dialogue. Because he is acting cruel to impress this other lady, and she is pretty evil to begin with, they completely ignore what just happened. I kid you not, it's like a nearly 2-minute scene of serious dialogue while this lady is in the background dying in pain. Spoiler alert for The Thing, 1982. One of the researchers, Norris, gets infected by the extraterrestrial being and had started replicating him from the inside. Dr. Copper attempts to revive him after Norris gets a heart attack, being unaware of the infection. As he is about to use the defibrillator, the extraterrestrial bites his arms off, and Norris' body gets severed into pieces and each part develops legs of its own as the thing tries to replicate his body. Disgusting stuff. In case you are interested, here's a link to the clip link. B/X9ZPSEG6MAC. Skip to 112. When Denethor ate the tomato, there's scary stuff. There's disturbing stuff. There's images that can scar someone for life, and then, above all of those, there's close-up shots of people eating. Oh, probably the scene in Hannibal where Anthony Hopkins cooks the guy's brain and feeds it to him. Same movie, different scene. When the disformed guy remembers Hannibal giving him poppers, and then a piece of glass with instructions to escape now if you want to, cut his own face and feed it to the dogs. It didn't leave me for years. The longer I get from this scene, I feel better. The eye-sewing shenanigans in Coraline. That movie was the horror movie for kids. I hear the book is even more horrifying. Part of the reason the book is creepier is that YB doesn't exist. He was added to the movie, so it wouldn't be Coraline talking to herself. In the context of the book, that means that a good portion of the book is a lost, scared little girl talking to herself, trying to maintain her sanity in the face of unimaginable, otherworldly horrors. I believe it was Human Centipede 2. Pregnant woman pretends to be dead, is discarded to the side of the room, waiting for her chance to escape. Goes into labor, obviously can't continue playing dead, screams and runs. Is discovered by Centipede Jude. Manages to get herself into a car as baby pops out. Lady smashes baby's head under the pedal as she slams the gas pedal down attempting to escape. I don't watch horror movies anymore. Holy duck, that description is gruesome. There's an 80s/90s horror movie called When a Stranger Calls Back, or The Spoliers. In the movie, the killer is a ventriloquist who can throw his voice. In the end scene, the protagonist is in a room with the killer and can hear him, but she can't see him. He has painted himself to look like the wall. This scene impacted me for many years. As a single woman living alone, I would walk around my house, trailing my hand along the wall to make sure no one had painted themselves to match my wall. Why is this one kinda funny, lol? This was so horrifying to me at the time, because I was so young when I watched it, but the last scene in Cannibal Holocaust where the cannibals assaulted and attacked one of the film crew has just stayed with me since. Wasn't there some sort of investigation, because the movie seemed too realistic? Wasn't there controversy over them actually killing some animals on screen? That part with the giant turtle was ducked. Yeah. That turtle actually died. It's been a while since I've seen that movie and have no interest in watching it again. I believe the actor deeply regretted that scene. The scene in The Mummy where the scarabs crawled under the one guy's skin. I saw it when I was about 8 and it traumatized me. I still have nightmares once in a while about it 20 years later. Jesus Christ, this scene. I was in the field once collecting insect specimens for a project in uni. I lifted a rock and a bajillion Egyptian grain beetles came spewing out. Just like the scene from The Mummy. Nearly ducking shat myself. I was out of there before they could get under my skin. When I was younger I was helping my dad move some cinder block that were stacked in our backyard, and when I picked one up 3 fat ass spiders crawled out from underneath and scurried up my arm into my t-shirt sleeve. I was smacking my torso as I ran and took my shirt off and had mushed spider guts smeared all over. I must have been 10 years old and I don't think I have ever run as fast as that any time in my life. My heart rate goes up just thinking about it now, lol. That scene in Pinocchio where the boy turns into a donkey. The baby scene in Trainspotting. My mom has always been great at picking out important details or slight foreshadowing in films, and I vividly remember watching this with her for the first time. And shortly before that scene with the characters all in the apartment. But well before you become aware of the baby's death. She looked at me and said, "Oh duck, the baby stopped crying." Still sticks with me. Edit /u/Straffasafapath, and some mild independent research pointed out my mom and I are wrong by both the book and film. Unless there is a director's cut or something I'm unaware of. The general agreement in the other comments makes me think this might be a result of the Mandela effect. In 7. The guy in the sex club recounting what the murderer made him do with a strap-on saw blade. His screaming about what he made him do. That was the worst scene from 7. I went to bed after watching it, and my mind kept revisiting that horrible Polaroid. Incredibly disturbing. I think it says a lot that I watched this movie this year and have no memories of a Polaroid. I remember the scene, but not the Polaroid. Really good coping mechanism to have full traumatizing stuff. Your brain just throws it out. The scene in Robocop when Murphy was murdered. I'm sorry, but Black Swan, when she has skin at the edge of nail and she pulls it. Fuck no. I tend to pick at my cuticles when I'm feeling anxious, and I felt this scene. Final scene of The Mist with Thomas Jane. All for nothing. The brave little toaster when the vacuum sucks up his own cord. I will never vacuum over a cord. Edit. Cord. Cord. It's one of those words I'll never get right in context. Same movie for me, but I was a kid, and the scene was the air conditioner's suicide. In one of the later Rambo, I believe 5, where the bad dudes toss mines inside a pond and make the village people run across the pond or face getting shot. That whole movie has scenes of torture that are hard to watch for me, not necessarily the gruesome of it, but knowing the fact that real people have definitely had a similar treatment before. The purposely botched electrocution in The Green Mile. To this day I can't watch even a second of that movie. Yes. The way that scene goes on and on is so horrifying. Man. Percy has to be one of the most hateable characters ever put on film. The scene in Hotel Rwanda, where someone is driving over a bumpy road. The person looks down and realizes the bumps are human bodies. It's horrible to know such things happened. Edit. I didn't expect this post to get so much attention. It gives me hope that some people out there were just as affected by the scene as I was. I hope we can all work for a more compassionate tomorrow. In Saw 4, one of the traps someone gets caught in is where a machine slowly pulls some women's scalp clean off. I have never wanted long hair ever again. As a guy who's had long hair basically his whole life, I'm terrified of my hair getting caught, machinery, etc. I was about 10 or younger I think when I saw it, so I think that's why it stuck with me. But it's the scene from Pan's Labyrinth where the dad just bashes some soldier's face in with a wine bottle. Edit. When I say dad I mean the main girl's father, the commander/psychopathic soldier. Looking back, it wasn't a soldier's face, but the son of father who were out rabbit hunting. Splice when the thing grew a dick and raped its mother. Also when the dad ducked it. Think it is on Netflix, if anyone is interested. I will never forget going to the theaters to see this movie. At the rape scene, half of the theater walked out. One man literally said, "Fuck this movie," as he left. The last 10 to 15 minutes of Requiem for a Dream. Requiem for a Dream is at the top of my list for the most horrifying movie I've seen. What hits me is the fact that the movie could easily be called a documentary instead of a drama. The events that took place can be, and probably are, an unfortunate reality for some. Probably the best movie I never want to watch again. There's this bear scene in Annihilation, where the voices of the dead crew members mutate into the bear's growl. It's really FK and scary. Shaving the leg in Cabin Fever. All the years of therapy to forget, and in one comment you have brought it all back. The rape scene in Irreversible. Wound up fast forwarding after a few minutes. Edit. Thank you for the awards. In Saving Private Ryan. The scene where the Jewish soldier gets stabbed to death, while the cowardly soldier can't bring himself to save him. Indiana Jones when they dip a guy alive in lava. Also I was 5 when I saw it, so that's probably why it traumatized me. The rape scene in A Clockwork Orange, where Alex is singing the song Singing in the Rain while doing horrible things to this woman. It was totally unscripted too. Martyrs. The woman with the steel thing attached to her head still creeps me out. Also the end. God, what a FD up movie. Edit. I'm so thankful others have seen this and agree. It makes me feel like less of an evil person for even sitting through it. Also I'm talking about the original French one, not the remake. Opening sequence Midsommar. This, and when the two elders jumped to their deaths. Came here for this. That damn sledgehammer. Duckman. I watched The Matrix when I was a kid, and the scene where the agents interrogate Neo still holds a special, horrible place in my mind. Specifically, when he loses his mouth, and the little robotic probe thing climbs into his belly button. Holy duck. Greater than sign exclamation mark. Charlie's death. In Hereditary. The 5 minutes that follow that really punch you in the gut. I can't remember how old I was when I watched Terminator 2, Judgment Day, but I know I wasn't old enough to see it. Several scenes in that movie gave me nightmares, including when the T-1000 killed the security guard getting coffee in Sarah Connor's dreams about Judgment Day. Haven't seen the film, not even the full scene, but the scenes when people gets exposed to the Martian environment in Total Recall. Every time I see pictures it freaks me the hell out. I know I should be able to see such things, but I'm still too scared to see those scenes yet. Lol, those crack me up tbh. All I can think of is Arnold's Blauerg HHGH. The scene in The Body, an episode of Buffy, where she walks into the house and finds her mother dead of natural causes. As someone that has experienced that at a young adult age, this scene is so well written, shot and acted, as in, everything about it is basically spot on for how you act / feel / see things. I've seen it once. It chilled me to the bone, knocked me sick, and I've not been able to rewatch it since. Probably a bit different than you were expecting, especially since it's from a TV show, but this is what instantly came to mind when reading the question. The eeriest thing about that whole episode was the complete absence of a soundtrack. There's one of the tapes from Sinister that is absolutely bone-chilling and horrific. I won't spoil it, but for those that have seen the movie you probably know what I'm referring to. There is a part in Descent that it turns into a completely different movie that ruined spelunking for me. When I was 7, I saw part of Fascism at the drive-in. Pissed myself at Little League the next week. Bilbo Baggins freaking out over the ring in The Fellowship absolutely ruined the movie for 6-year-old me. That, and when Galadriel goes all Jolly Green Giant. A few years ago, a film portraying the events of July 22nd, 2011 in Norway, was released. For those who haven't heard about it before, a Norwegian terrorist attacked our government building, and after proceeded to make his way to an island where young and aspiring politicians / kids interested in politics were at summer camp. He dressed as a policeman, before he shot and killed 70 plus teenagers and kids. The movie was shot to look like it was all in one take, and the whole film just ducked me and everyone I saw it with. I literally felt like a different person after watching it. I can't explain it. Edit. Changed people to teenagers and kids. For anyone interested in learning more, Google Utah 22. Jolie. The basement scene in The Road. Movie. 127 hours. Scene where James Franco cuts the nerve in his forearm. I expected this to be way higher. That sound effect. The ending of We Need to Talk About Kevin, where the kid, spoiler warning, murders his little sister and dad before shooting up a school. Or the part where Kevin is jerking off and his mom catches him, so he just makes eye contact and starts jerking more frantically. Talking to a friend about the movie and he said at that point, he just turned it off and was like, yeah, duck this movie. It's definitely because I watched it when I was too young. But that scene in Lord of the Flies when the rest of the children kill Simon, I haven't seen it since, but the way they joined in so readily haunted me. I hated watching Macaulay Culkin die in My Girl. Basically all of Dominion. However, if I had to pin it down to one scene, it'd have to be the all footage of baby piglets being killed with blunt force trauma. If the poor things aren't growing fast enough, they are held by the hind legs and smacked into walls and railings. Holy duck. I got chills. Not good ones. Never made it that far in. I had to stop at 6 minutes. The piglet cuddling up against his half-eaten corpse of a brother, while the other sibling was crying from being crushed to death in the background, is what got me. Literally any time I hear, but bacon though, or see ribs, or a Christmas ham or anything, this is what pops into my head. What a nightmare of a life. I'm not gonna pinpoint one film, but as soon as a rape scene starts, show's over for me. Just about every scene in Salò, aka 120 Days of Sodom. Me and a friend once had a little competition to find the most disgusting, horrifying and sickening film ever released. He found some weird Japanese slasher film, but I found Salò, 120 Days of Sodom, and I won the competition. Not a proud achievement tbh, but that's how I wound up watching this sick film. Most of the end of Evangelion. Either the bathroom scene in The Shining with the naked creepy woman or the gym scene in Pulp Fiction. Yes, the gym scene left a bad taste in my mouth and I could recall it vividly for years. Watched it the first time in my early teens and wouldn't touch the dang movie until I turned 25. Saw 3 or 4? Question mark? Jigsaw needs brain surgery and kidnaps a woman who can do it. She peels back the skin on his scalp and needs to drill into his skull to relieve the pressure. She puts the drill bit to his bloody skull and, knock, the sound of drill bit hitting his skull almost made me throw up. Absolutely disgusting. Fun fact. I would later pursue a career in sound design in film and little did I know, would end up, and still do, working for the guy responsible for that sound. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.